first half where it seemed like both teams, as we mentioned at halftime, were on the second game of a back-to-back. Detroit actually was. Brooklyn was not. There was a lot of energy in that second half on both sides.
Oh, it was incredible, especially that third quarter for the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they were incredible, hopped out to that 8-0 run, which really turned into a lot more points. I mean, they had 39 points alone, as Michael Grady mentioned in that interview with KD. 39 points alone in the third quarter, 39 in the entire first half. So the offense picked up. They were moving the ball well. They were getting a lot of people involved. Their defense was phenomenal. They held them to just 16 points in that third quarter. So incredible job on both ends of the floor, which led to their offense.
And 13 made field goals for the Nets in the first half. They were 13 of 40. They made 15 alone in that third quarter. And speaking of that third quarter, Jules, let's revisit that right now. Nets starting well, as you mentioned. Kevin Durant comes right out, hits a three. That's big.
Yeah, I don't know.
Start with something like that.
That's the man you want with the ball in his hands, that's for sure.
Moments later, James Harden finds Bruce Brown. Little teardrop goes in. We saw that a ton in the playoffs last year. Moments later, Blake Griffin kicks to Joe Harris, the extra feed to Brown. All alone in the corner. This time a wide open three, Jules, and he hit it.
Look at how many players touched the basketball there, Chris. Several.
Right, and now here come the Pistons. Harden gets stripped. Josh Jackson all alone. He blows the dunk, and on the other end, Durant makes him pay.
Easy.
Easy money sniper, right?
Looks so easy. Smooth.
Nets starting to take control. Durant with the spinning fadeaway. He gets this one to go. Anything was going down for him in that third quarter. Nets up by 8. Moments later, Harden starting to feel it. He drills the three. Nets open their largest lead, 60-49. Next Nets possession, Griffin has the steal at midcourt. Goes in alone for the slam. Nets lead 62-49. Griffin was huge in the fourth quarter, too.
See the extra energy back in Detroit. He's feeling it.
Later, Harden finds Griffin underneath for the layup +1. The Nets go up by 10. And then it's Harris.
For them was incredible. A lot of people touching the basketball and maintaining the energy on the defensive end. It felt like a playoff game. I mean, that's the vibe we got from that game.
You're right. And you brought up Steve Nash. What about all the veterans? We talked about the veterans in the pregame show and how what they mean off the bench, and Kevin Durant and James Harden in the starting lineup. What about in a situation like halftime where you're scuttling against a Pistons team that comes into this game with 1 win?
Well, that's where you need to rely on your veterans. You got to turn to your Aldridge. You got to turn to your Patty Mills. You got to turn to those guys, Kevin and Harden. They're vets, and they came up big in the second half. And those are situations where they need to be the guys leading the charge. And you can tell that that's what happened in the second half, because they came out leading the charge, playing very well, and fire, setting fire, setting fire. That's what happens. It really, you can light each other up, and that's why they played so well.
So the Nets led by 16 at the end of 3, but it got a little dicey in the fourth quarter. Let's take a look at some highlights down the stretch as the Pistons start coming back. Fourth quarter here, Pistons making a surge. Cade Cunningham drives in for the floater. This is probably his best game of the season so far.
Oh, he was incredible. I mean, he was playing tenacious with a lot of confidence off the dribble. He was making shots from distance. I mean, it didn't matter, Chris. He was really feeling it.
With Patty Mills in his face, he drills that. Pistons down by a handful. Next possession for them, Corey Joseph pulls up from deep. A 10-2 run. The Nets had an 11-point lead. It is down to a 2-point lead. 3 minutes left. Joseph has another look at a three to give them the lead, but it's off the mark. Blake Griffin gets tangled up with Isaiah Stewart. They scuffle, have another look, and Jules, you played.
Yeah.
If somebody's standing over you like that, what is a Jules Viani before the brain doing?
Sorry, I would have been just as ticked off if I was Blake. Right over top you like that, you're asking for trouble.
That's personal space. He is in Blake Griffin's personal airspace.
Vulnerable on the floor like that.
Yes, absolutely. Double technicals were called on Griffin and Isaiah Stewart. So we play on next Nets possession. Kevin Durant, the touch.
Yeah, so smooth. I mean, he just played with clutch confidence.
Pistons not going away, though. Cunningham hits the corner three, and then under 2 minutes left, Pistons could take the lead. Stewart gets this one blocked here.
Oh, that's where you got to be boxing out if you're the Nets. Whew.
Harden with the rebound later. Kevin Durant, stop, pop, drop. Nets up 92-89. Last minute, Sadiq Bey driving into the lane, and Blake Griffin putting the hard hat on and the work boots, doing the dirty work. Number 2 getting it done. Then Kevin Durant with the miss.
But look at the tap out.
Tap back. Some more hard hat work from Griffin. And watch what happens. KD really took over here in the fourth quarter.
See, he's just dribbling here and taking his sweet time, and how smooth. He just reads the defense so beautifully. Gets to the lane. So hard to cover him.
Nets up 94-89 there. They go on to win it by the final of 96-90. KD, 29 points, 10 boards, 5 assists. James Harden, you know, he had a triple-double against the Pistons back on Halloween, his first of the year. This was his second.
And that goes unnoticed, right? We talk about James Harden where he struggles.
Right.
Yet he ends up with a triple-double here tonight.
And guess who he passed, Jules? Larry Legend. He is now 7th on the all-time triple-double lists, all by himself with 60.
Incredible. And again, Harden is continuing to find his rhythm, I think, get his game back. But the last few games, we see his playmaking ability. How can you knock a triple-double? I mean, there's a lot of people that have knocked his ability to read the game early, the changes in the calls. I mean, we saw tonight, boy, they let them play. There was a sense of the referees were just letting them play with physicality and aggressiveness. But, yeah, James Harden, I think he's going to continue to do what he's got to do. And they gritted it out tonight and got a lot of contributions down the stretch from multiple players.
And
I mean, he is the best player in the world to me. He's one of those players you cannot stop. You put the ball in his hands, and it's just, he's gifted. It's like he was made to play this game. He shows such skill on both ends of the floor. He gets up, he runs, he finds people. He knows how to read the defenses. He doesn't have a move that he can't do in the mid-range, getting to the hole. But right now, I love this play. Takes his time, changes his speed, and finishes beautifully.
And you know what, Jules? He loves the game of basketball. Take a look at this. Easy money sniper, right?
You know what it is? A purist.
Purist. There you go. 20-plus points in each of his first 9 games. That's the first player in Nets NBA history to do that. 255 points in his first 9 games, 4th most in franchise history, and just over 28 points per game, 2nd in the NBA to Paul George. And the thing that always fascinates us with Kevin Durant, Jules, he is such a student of the game. We always talk about him, you know, if he wanted to coach, if he wanted to be on the sidelines when he was done. Now, look, he probably doesn't have to do that. But if he wanted to, he knew with Michael Grady what he shot from the floor. I mean, that is a guy that is plugged in, and it's night in and night out. He doesn't take a night off.
That's what you need from a competitor. He is one of those fierce competitors, and he knows the game so well. And that was one thing that Patty Mills said when he was being recruited by Kevin Durant. Hey, Kevin Durant, I had no idea he was such a purist, he said, which is why I mentioned that he's a purist, because he just loves the game. And it's all about offense and defense leading to your offense. And Kevin Durant is never satisfied. You notice when he was talking to Michael Grady, he wasn't satisfied. I could have made some shots that I missed, some chippies, and yet we grounded out. We did a good job finishing strong, and you could tell he